Josh had a great breakdown of Tennessee's wide receivers on offthehooksports.com. I think that if you said to most programs that you'll lose two guys that could flirt with the first round, that your receivers are going to take a step back. I'm not sure that's the case with the Josh Heupel offense.
Yeah, I don't expect that. They may have a step back from one player dominating statistically as Jalin Hyatt did, but the collection could still be really strong, and you could still see Squirrel White in the slot put up big numbers. His Orange Bowl performance indicated that he might have that chance. Not a big guy, but he had big plays in limited time as a true freshman. Dante Thornton has obvious talent to be able to hit those big plays in this offense. It's just so receiver friendly, and part of this will be what they get out of Joe Milton at quarterback, or Nico if he ends up having to play. But again, there's a benefit of the doubt. So Tennessee's not all that deep at the position in terms of numbers, but they don't play a lot of guys at receiver. So having Bru McCoy come back, Ramel Keyton now having proven that he can make plays in this offense, and then the talent that is there to take that next step. Offensively, I would expect that they are just fine at receiver.
Josh, I've said for a few months now, and Dave's heard me say this, and I want to know your thoughts. I've been so high on Dante Thornton because a 6'5", Heupel's offense is geared towards slot receivers if they're good. I mean, it's a dream scenario, but a 6'5" guy who can play in the slot, is this like the Warriors adding Kevin Durant? That's been my analogy. It's like you got an elite receiver combo, and then you got this guy that just could be a better fit than all of them in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, from an offensive standpoint and what they're able to do, Durant's so special. I want to be careful about what we expect out of Thornton, but in terms of big plays, I mean, he's averaging more than 21 yards a catch last year at Oregon. So in this offense, I just expect that Heupel is going to be able to come up with something that will allow Thornton to shine in this offense. And every offseason, I'm sure he self-scouts talking about Josh Heupel and figures out, okay, what have we done? What are teams going to try to take away? What can we do differently? Well, if you throw in a 6'5", 200-pound receiver that can run into that offense, that gives you a chance to do something differently with his ability to play inside and out. And yeah, the speed last year, like if they had a little more confidence maybe in Squirrel because he was still just a true freshman, Hyatt and Squirrel on the field at the same time could be such a dynamic. Now you have Dylan Sampson, who also can factor into this conversation from a speed standpoint. Cameron Seldon, who we don't know much about yet, but he's a true freshman who could play at the running back position, could line up at receiver. I think they have more speed elements to work with in the offense. So that's why it can come back to the whole conversation of what this offense will do. But I'll be shocked, and I think you will be as well, if Dante Thornton doesn't have several wow plays this season in Tennessee's offense.
Okay, so at the end of the day, who has more receiving yards? Who has more catches? Who's the better receiver, Thornton or Squirrel White? Caleb, you want to go first? I know you're a big Thornton guy.
Yeah, I'm going to go Thornton. I like Squirrel. I like Squirrel, but like a 6'5" slot guy. I don't care if it isn't, even if it's not Heupel's offense, a 6'5" guy you can line up in the slot when you got Ramel Keyton and Bru McCoy on the other sides. This is insane.
I'm taking Squirrel, Josh. I think a year in the system to learn that at the slot is a big deal, but Caleb says I'm absolutely wrong.
Well, I think the statistics will have a good chance to be broken up across the wide receiver room this year. So total receptions, I might go Squirrel because I could see a lot of quick throws to him with his ability to try to break through those blocks and pick up yards after the catch. Thornton, I think, will lead the team in yards per catch. Total yards, I think it'll be close. I might lean Thornton on that side. Touchdowns could be Thornton, could be Bru McCoy. So I think that this could be spread out a lot. But I just, having already seen Squirrel shine both as a big play down the field guy and a volume receiver as he was in the Orange Bowl, yeah, I kind of lean his direction because I've already seen him, but I don't mean that to take away from what Thornton will be able to do in this offense. I think both guys could be pretty prolific this year.
Benjamin says it'll be Squirrel, so thank you for backing me on that. Ben, just for the panel here, what if Tennessee got to a point that they would do mass substitutions and wide receiver? Because, Josh, you mentioned that they don't play a lot of receivers, and they don't, but the way they handle their tight ends has always been one drive, one player, one drive, one player. It was Fant and Warren last year. I'm not saying they're going to do that receivers, but what if they could go into one drive, mass sub the receivers, and still be as effective? To me, that would keep a lot of guys fresh. They haven't had that depth at this point, though, Josh.
I just don't expect that until we see that kind of move. I mean, last year at the beginning of the season was the Pittsburgh games. Like, well, Ramel Keyton just not needed at all. And then all of a sudden he has to take over a starting role when Cedric Tillman goes down, and Keyton was ready, and he stepped up, and he has one of the more underrated catches of the season, that long play down the right sideline against Florida to set up that touchdown at the end of the drive. You have a kind of new starting quarterback in Joe Milton. He's officially taking over that role. At least that would be the expectation. So do you feel like you're throwing off chemistry if you're doing mass substitution? You have different guys out there in different drives. So I think 4 to 5 guys would be my expectation. We'll see what other guys do elsewhere. Like Walker Merrill, I think, was a solid player. Jimmy Callaway had obvious ability. I think the coaching staff obviously lacked confidence in him. He's ready to throw hands, but was he ready to do what the coaches wanted? I don't know. So I agree that this receiving core is probably deeper in terms of players that they feel like they can trust, depending on what second-year guys, Caleb Webb, Chaz Nimrod, and then freshman Nathan Laycock is able to do as a true freshman. They love his ability. So, I don't know yet, but my guess is that they're relying on 4, maybe 5 guys until I see otherwise.
Caleb, I don't think I've asked Josh. Who do you think, Josh, who do you think starts quarterback in October for Tennessee? Because I've gone out on a limb here. I'm saying this guy.
Yeah.
Never gets old. It's kind of like he's talking, talking down to us.
Nico is saying that guy. You're not saying it until you step up and show a little chest, willing to say his name yourself. He's saying it.
Please say it one more time. All right, I think I got it. And I seriously have had to listen to it like 18 times to get it. But he is talking down to me because I need to be talked down too, Josh.
Yeah, I agree with. We're in sync now. But I'm sticking with Joe. I'm buying into him being improved and understanding in the offense. I also look at the schedule in the first month, and at Florida is going to be tough, but I don't think Virginia will be. You have a couple of cupcakes around that. Could I be wrong? Could it be Nico at some point and Joe takes a step back from what we saw in the Orange Bowl? Sure. But I'm buying into Joe being the guy in this offense and him having a good season for Tennessee.